Hi Vikram, thank you so much for joining us on Blitz Business. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashish, for having me.
Awesome. Let's get started. Vikram, tell us
Thanks.
first a little bit about yourself.
So obviously, I've been in the hospitality business. I'm a third generation hotelier, restaurateur, and many years ago, about 10 years ago, I realized that there's a great need for focusing on the restaurant business. We have a great brand called Kamats, which honestly had kind of got stuck. There weren't many restaurants, and then I restarted the restaurant business under Kamats, Vithal Kamats, and you can see the chain that we've built on the highways. People in Maharashtra didn't know what franchising is before Kamats came along. They didn't know what were, people were not so confident about talking about clean washrooms. Washrooms was a taboo subject on the highway, and we made the market change by focusing on clean washrooms, proudly saying we have clean washrooms, and now every restaurant, every petrol pump also writes clean washrooms available. So many things like this we've done innovative. We've got our own Kamats labs where we do a lot of research on Indian food because we realized the main problem, people like to eat Indian food, but it's complicated to make. Because it's complicated to make, the availability is less. So things like that. We also have a four-star hotel chain under the brand Vits. That's also done exceedingly well because there's a huge need in tier two, tier three markets to be able to uh, have people enjoy a good lifestyle experience. And obviously, the other chains don't want to go there because they want to build 100 room, 200 room hotels, and these markets can't take them. So we've always seen these hotels as restaurants with rooms rather than how hotel people tend to think of it as a hotel में चलो यार एक दो restaurant बना दिए. So it's like that.
So, one question, Vikram. Many people ask us they want to start their own restaurant, and आजकल तो बहुत waves चली हुई है entrepreneurship की. So,
Correct.
how easy or difficult is it for someone to start a restaurant in today's time?
It's starting a restaurant has never been very easy or never been very difficult. It's kind of remained the same. I think the concepts have changed from time to time. Now people want to do a lot more fusion. Lounges are much more accepted than before. Bars are much more accepted than before. Youth obviously has got more disposable income than before. First, there was more family dining concept. Now, whenever I try to go anywhere with my family, with my kids, I have to first call the bar or the restaurant and check. Are kids allowed for dinner? In many of the places, kids are not allowed. So I think those things are a little bit changed, and that's okay. That's the market reality. But it's not difficult or it's not easy. It's just different.
Okay, awesome. So Vikram, tell us then a little bit about what was the transition. So you said third generation into this business. So
That's
how
right.
has sort of things changed, or what are the new things you guys are doing in terms of as per changing time versus how it started?
So, the market also has changed in so many years. When my grandfather was started this business, he had the first restaurant opposite Churchgate Station in about 1950s, and it started from there. He obviously started ground up. He had no capital. He was the manager. From the manager, he became owner. So things are very different because handling staff, handling the team was very different then. They saw him more as a father figure rather than a boss. Employment was very difficult, so people used to stick around for many, many years. Today, if you're sticking around in a company for more than 3 years, 4 years, then people think, "Yare, तुम्हें कुछ problem है क्या?" So I think this is a wrong perception, but that's the way the market is right now. So what has changed between these three generations? The market has changed. Like I told you, the business has also changed, and then each generation has kept up with the time. I focused a lot when I focused completely and dedicatedly on the hotel and restaurant business, that is Vits and Kamats. I had to change many things that were different from before. Our latest brand, Kamat's Legacy, is a complete departure from the original Kamats. It's an upmarket premium vegetarian South Indian chain, and we've got it's a fine dining South Indian experience, which Kamats was originally more into the common man everyday kind of concept, with the pricing also being accordingly. So with the times you have to change. Today in Bombay, if you see the rentals, it's not affordable to have the casual everyday dining concept. So, you have to change.
you mentioned about rental. Someone recently came on the podcast. They run a co-working space, pretty, I mean, $100 million business. And
Okay.
so we were discussing the rental rate, and they said
Mm.
BKC, the land acquisition rate is 300 rupees minimum, and
Yeah.
versus what in Delhi or Noida, Gurgaon, it's still. So yeah, rentals I think is a big part of it. But according to
And
you, Vikram, what is the biggest challenge when you're running a restaurant? What are the biggest challenges? Is it the talent, chef, getting the customer, pricing? What are the challenges you typically face?
I think the biggest challenge is you. You means yourself is the biggest challenge. And all these other challenges can be overcome with the right team. The right team sticks around or is selected basically by you. So I think the biggest challenge is you. And if you can handle yourself or you can understand what's falling short where and rectify it, I think all the other challenges are not so big. In fact, coming to that rental part, if there is something available at 300, I'm going right now, leaving this interview and taking it, because typically on the ground floor, most of the places where it's all 450, 500 plus,
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
and Bombay, anywhere you go in Bombay, even though, in Bombay, we've been very eager to open in Borivali, so we finalized something in Borivali, finalized in other places. The rental range has kind of got capped because all the builders, I think they have shared understanding, or they try and work it amongst themselves eventually in the market. So the rentals are in that 300 rupee range, more or less across Mumbai. Some places very high, like our restaurant in Nariman Point, we have a very high rental, just like BKC, and then some, but it's in that range.
So what's the
300 is
rental?
like the median.
What is the rental in Nariman Point?
There also it's about 500 rupees a square foot
Oh,
on the ground floor. Also, what happens is the problem is about the availability.
hmm.
I mean, when was the last? When has a new building been constructed in Nariman Point?
Yeah.
It's all the old buildings that have been there since 1980, 1990. So there's no new supply. The
Yes.
old supplies some people own. After many of these fire norm issues in Bombay with certain unfortunate incidents, the norms have also become more strict, or the buildings themselves are a little bit more cautious. नहीं हमको restaurant के लिए NOC नहीं देना है. So these factors play in. If you see the office rental market, office rentals are crashing today in Nariman Point. For office, there is no restriction. But when it comes to even BKC, if you see the rentals are falling. But when it comes to retail, that is like restaurant, or even if you take shopping, or for shops, these kind of things, there is a difficulty, or there's a lack of supply, which immediately pushes up the price.
So why? What's the reason for office rental? Is like no one is coming to office, or people are laying off too much, or
So
what's?
office rental, what has happened in the office rental market? See, when Nariman Point, see, this happens in hotel industry also. Whenever anything becomes too expensive, the market shifts. People
Hmm,
don't want to pay beyond a particular price that they have. Why
hmm.
do you think, who has developed Thailand, who has developed Vietnam as a tourist destination? The Indian hotel industry and the Indian airline industry. We have made our things so expensive that लोगों को लगता है कि it's better to go there. सस्ता है, अच्छा है, where Bombay, Delhi, Bombay, Goa flights are charging 15,000 rupees one way, you are getting 7,000 rupees one way to an international destination where the hotels also are much better, the infrastructure there, and you can. So people have an option. Okay, same way has happened in the rental market and offices. Parel came up. Parel was never office. Today Parel is a leading office destination. The buildings became much better. The facilities and amenities for the office were much better. Connectivity was also better because obviously it was connected to Dadar, Parel, various other stops. And so Nariman Point actually got a hit when everybody started shifting there. Then they realized that's why they started renovating their buildings, improving. Then obviously BKC came up, or rather BKC came up, but BKC was originally was only about the corporate offices. Only if you had a particular individual, it was not small offices. But Parel was with small offices. Smaller offices could take smaller places. So like this, the market keeps shifting. I mean, today look at Andheri East. Andheri East has become the next major market when it comes to office. Sakinaka, Andheri East, then of course Powai got developed. So there it has got spread, but in case of restaurant, it has not got spread for that reason.
And so help us understand, Vikram, in terms of restaurant economics. If someone is paying 500 square feet rent versus 300, so what are the costs involved and what's the breakdown? How much a typical restaurant can earn?
See, it's a very, it's a very difficult question to answer because the the restaurant is not one thing. You can have a restaurant with alcohol, you can have a restaurant without alcohol. It can be a lounge, it can be a family bar and restaurant, it can be a
With,
quarter bar.
with
So
assumption,
it's very, yeah,
help us.
there are too many assumptions to make. But just to give you an insight, which as I guess your objective of asking the question,
Mm,
is that when the rentals, typically the rentals have gone a little bit higher, especially in South Mumbai, because most of the places have become lounge, nightclub, bar.
mm,
And in a lounge, nightclub, bar, unlike a typical restaurant, you don't need a lot of kitchen area, you don't need a back area. The bar is in the front of the house. Okay, what we term front of the house is called where the guests can actually see or actually experience. And back of the house is like areas like housekeeping, kitchen area, wash up, where normally the guest never goes. So in a bar or restaurant, you don't need that much of area because what typically tends to happen is everything is front of the house. Secondly, आपने bottle खोल दिया, glass में डाल दिया और serve कर दिया. There's no preparation required when it comes to a bar.
mm,
And unlike food, which you can eat up to maybe 800, 900 grams at best,
mm.
when it comes to alcohol, you can drink a lot, go to the washroom, come back, drink a lot, go to the washroom, come back, drink a lot. So the amount you spend, in a cycle is much more than you would. And if you see the APC of a average per customer spend on alcohol, even if he's taking 4 beers, in today's day and age, his bill will at least come 1500, 1600, hands down,
Yeah.
without anything.
Mm,
Whereas, are you going to spend 1600 rupees on food? Maybe, maybe not. So
mm.
that's where bar and lounge can do higher per person because they can fit in more number of people. There's less seating, so you can fit in more number of people in the same restaurant. You're obviously spending on alcohol much more than you would on food. You need less setup space, and that's how the economics works. That sometimes the prices get driven up by the bars and lounges because they can spend a lot more compared to a restaurant. Whereas but of course every business has their nuance. These lounges tend to work after 6, 7 till the morning 1:32. So they make their money maximum that, but the advantage is rest of the time they're just paying rental. They don't need to call in their staff. Whereas a typical restaurant has to operate at least for 2 to 3 shifts. We may not operate for breakfast, but at least lunch, high tea, and dinner you have to be available. So these are the way the maths work.
So that's very interesting, Vikram. And I have recently seen, so I'm from Delhi, and there are,
Okay.
for this sort of concept, there are tons of restaurants which have come in Delhi, I think, or the all the other restaurants just converting into sort of this format. Loud music,
Correct.
lot of
Yeah.
lounge area. I'm not a personal big fan of loud music, but I
No,
mean,
no, neither am I. And that's why I said that unfortunately, whenever I have to go out, also I have to first check because now even very good restaurant concepts, for example, soda bottle water, which is pitching itself as a restaurant for Parsi food,
hmm,
after 10 o'clock becomes a disco. Okay, so it's unfortunate that at even the restaurants cannot survive as the original concept that they are, and in the end you have to have DJ and disco and drinks,
hmm,
which I think is very sad for the restaurant market as a whole, because there is a large lifestyle experience market that is required. There are people who want to go and generally talk
yeah.
over a good drink. You want to meet somebody. You want to spend some time together. So I think everything need not be noisy. There's a time for chilling and dancing. There's a time for disco dancing. There's a time for everything. So I think everything going in one format is not.
So that means, I mean, there will be a saturation coming to this sort of format, or no?
There is already, I wouldn't say saturation, but the market is separating, and that's always good because that kind of creates a new wave in any business. Because I think in the middle everybody thought this format is working great because everybody was inspired by a quasi social or a quasi this कि अरे वो कर रहा है तो हम भी करेंगे, and that's true in any business. Success is often mimicked blindly, and that's where the guys mimicking it fail, and then people realize कि oh, नहीं उसका चला नहीं, थोड़ा हम सोच समझ के करते हैं. So that's a good.
Vikram, who is your favorite? So, two parts to the question. Um, Favorite restaurant, and second is a brand which you follow typically in terms of this is a great guy who is doing great work in your segment, or you feel he's your competitor. I wish I would be like him or something of those sorts.
So I think the ideal for any restaurateur, most restaurateurs, at least for me, definitely is Ray Kroc, and he's the founder of McDonald's. And I think, and I've read the story of many other founders, not just one book, but multiple books on many founders. Right from, in fact, very few people know that Ray Kroc wasn't even the founder of the hamburger business. There was a
Mm,
much larger, bigger chain called White Castle, and
yes.
people in the US know it quite well. There's a chain called White Castle, and they were the original founders of the chain hamburger service.
Yeah.
And I had one. They were, the founder donated a lot of his company material to one foundation, and that foundation allows you to access it for free. I actually paid one person from, I know, got a university student over there to actually photograph every document, okay, and send it to me so that I could read, what all they did and how they did, because it's a fascinating story about how he built that chain and how people had a lot of negativity about hamburgers, and people used to think that you're using all stale material and things and all. And of course, Ray Kroc came along and he also found the McDonald brothers and things. But I think he very intelligently took the business to the next level. Burger King also, I've read the story, KFC, everybody. But I think the my idol definitely is Ray Kroc.
कोई इंडिया में इंडियन रेस्टोरेंट?
Indian restaurateur ऐसे, that feeling आता नहीं है जो, maybe we have to work really hard, maybe I can fill that gap, that so that people will say, अरे I want to be like Dr. Vikram Kamat जो उसने industry.
फिर भी कोई एक something someone who comes to your mind.
As a restaurateur, not really. The closest that I can think obviously is probably my dad, because I've obviously learned a lot from him in the restaurant business, both what to do and both what not to do. So I would say maybe he would come the closest, because in South Indian, see what has happened in the Indian food industry when it comes to scale and all. Most of the Indian entrepreneurs have chosen to take a Western model because that was much easier. Like they have expanded the pizza route, the burger route. So they have taken a Western model and mimicked it here. There is no, if you see, Indian chain which is serving on scale butter naan, chicken, or black dal, or any kind of regional cuisine which has become a chain.
Mm.
So that's where maybe that is not evoking my feeling. There are many great restaurants. I mean, I can name so many good restaurants which have got one outlet, two outlet, five outlet, but which has really institutionalized the business. All the institutionalized restaurants are all Western model chain restaurants that we are following. So that's why probably doesn't evoke that feeling for me. I mean, our chain itself is about 50 restaurants strong. So maybe the most institutionalized in Indian restaurants is probably us. So
I think that's a very good point, Vikram, because even whenever one shift I've seen is whenever I go to any restaurant, something. I mean, they offer everything. I mean, there
correct.
is as such. You ask them for a burger, yeah, sure, we have. You ask them
Yeah,
for naan, they will have naan. I mean, it's
correct.
multi cuisine. Everyone is. Are the restaurant scared कि कुछ ऐसा ना मांग ले जो हम पे ना हो, or is it like it's not a
Good.
or
No,
is it
I'm
not
very proud.
कि वो
No, I'm
और they
very
are
proud.
confident enough in their dishes कि हम खाली ये focus करेंगे.
So I'm very proud in Kamat's legacy, and I say this with a matter of pride, that we have no North Indian items at Kamat's legacy. We are a South Indian restaurant. We have food only from the five southern states, and we do not have naan, we do not have roti, we do not have eggs, we do not have. Come enjoy amazing South Indian food, and everybody who's had the food, literally, we have people coming two times a week, three times a week means, and they are working Monday to Friday. So three times a week means he's coming Monday, Wednesday. He's probably coming to our restaurant more than he's going to the gym. Okay, so that's how frequent they are. and they love the taste because we are using the authentic ingredients, we are using the authentic methodology. We haven't gone from the other side, which is how do we make this palatable to the maximum number of people. We have gone in the format of how do we stay true to what people will enjoy, and that's what is happening here. And that's a big difference. And that's why, as you rightly said, we have stuck to no, this is our best, this is our core, and we will train people. जिसको ये पसंद है वो आते रहेगा. I mean, if you
Hmm.
see, McDonald's doesn't have an extensive menu. KFC doesn't have an extensive menu. Uh, these pizza chains, they are selling a single item well and doing it in a particular format. And that's what we see as the vision for our South Indian chain. We don't want to keep everything. We'll keep few things, but we'll keep it the best.
And what's your opinion on Sarvana Bhavan?
It's a good chain. I think Saravana Bhavan tries to, they have not kept up with the times. If you see their look, their feel, and they've got adult men still roaming around in shorts. So it has it has an old style concept to it, which I think is, like I said, it may be institutionalized, maybe not. I have no idea how it works, but definitely from a brand decor perspective, it has a lot to come. Even the international Saravana Bhavans, if you go, they are not having, they are still like the olden time restaurants, and they don't have that. Modern doesn't need to be like fancy decor. Modern doesn't need to mean it should be made in a Western style. But modern does mean keeping up with the times in terms of the tables, chairs, basic uniform. Like we are having traditional uniform. People are wearing a lungi, veshti, uh, whatever, whichever state you're from, and depending how you call it, and other traditional attire. But it's fresh, it's good, it's well maintained. I think those things are what people expect.
So there is this one question which came to my mind, Vikram. So I have a couple of friends. They run restaurant 1, 2, 5, 10, different size scale, and there is this
Mm-hmm.
perception, or in the market, or not maybe perception, maybe reality. I don't know. In terms of getting the liquor licenses, it's a very capital intensive business. So there are many things needs to be done to actually set up. A lot of investors are required. So there is the other side of the restaurant business.
मे बी आप खुल के आपका सवाल नहीं कर रहे बिकॉज आप जिस या whatever आप तोल मोल के बोल रहे थे so I'm not sure if I got the question right. I could make out you're trying to ask something deeper, but I hope I'm able to answer, and if not, you'll have to rephrase the question in a much sharper way. But I think yes, there is underlying, especially for lounges, you need a lot of money,
Hmm.
not because of the liquor license. The liquor license, let me tell you, is a very, very simple process. There is obviously two type of expenses, official and you know, but it's not expensive. It's not at all expensive. I mean, it's not like oh crore ka ye hai. Yes, in certain states like Bangalore and all, it does. It there it is expensive. In Maharashtra, it's not. गुजरात में तो सवाल उठता ही नहीं है unless you're in a union
But
territory.
गुजरात में भी वो लाने लग गए हैं. In gift city, you can now have sell liquor.
You can, but I'm saying overall Gujarat में तो सवाल ही नहीं है. Gift भी me just in few places started, but it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It's driven up the real estate market a lot because now people have a reason to stay in gift. Because why would you get transferred from say a Bombay? See, where is the talent? And when it comes to financial world, where is the talent? Primarily Bombay, Delhi, maybe Bangalore, okay, Chennai and Calcutta and all these cities are Calcutta had in fact the best financial market before Bombay. I mean that's where the original capital market and everything started from. But in any case, to answer your question, it's not difficult. Bangalore it is particularly because Bangalore or Karnataka has the thing where they don't give out any new licenses. Maharashtra doesn't give out any new wine shop licenses, but for a restaurant, you can open as many restaurants as you want, as many licenses you want. There is no real difficulty and restriction. So I think that's unfounded. But when it comes to lounges, nightclubs, see आपके साउंड सिस्टम, आप घर पे भी दारू पी सकते हो, वही दारू जो आप वहाँ पी रहे हो आप घर में भी पी सकते हो. So what is really the difference is the ambience. It's getting a crowd. The nightclub and restaurant are nightclub and lounge is always, I say, the place where people, good looking people, go to see other good looking people. Okay, सो लाउंज लाउंज और डिस्को इसको में तो आपको सज धज के जाना है ताकि बाकी जन सजे धजे लोगों को आप देखो. That's
Hmm.
the ambience. I mean, you're telling me you can't afford a beer at home, but you're paying a cover charge over there. So it's a different experience. Your sound system has to be very good. If you ever see any lounge or disco with the lights on, आप दूसरी बार जाओगे नहीं, because it
Hmm.
looks completely different. Their whole ambience is made with very good mood lighting or lack of lighting, different type of material, fancy bar counter. कहाँ पर तो bar counter और जो bar है, because see दारू की बाटली तो वही है जो आपको ड्यूटी फ्री आपके वाइन शॉप में मिल रही है, बट हाउ इज डिस्प्लेड, हाउ इट शोन, द काइंड ऑफ other additives, other things that they have, like smoky cocktails which you will not get at home, or certain other infusions which you cannot
View,
make at home.
maybe sea view or something if you are near
Yeah,
some.
view actually, view also, yes. I mean, if you go to Goa and all, they've got amazing views, amazing venues. बॉम्बे में तो खैर नहीं, बिकॉज ऑफ नॉइज बाहर ज्यादा जाए नहीं करके दे ट्राई एंड मेक इट as enclosed as possible so that the neighbors don't complain, because Bombay, Delhi, these are tight cities. In Delhi, of course, Khan Market and all those zones are created for that. In Bombay, that's why a lot of nightclubs prefer these industrial areas, or BKC also has done well because there are no neighbors to complain. सो बट खर्चा काफी होता है. आपका साउंड सिस्टम में 2 से 3 करोड़ रुपया हो सकता है, प्लस these kind of lounges you tend to make little bit bigger than the usual restaurant. 4,000 5,000 स्क्वायर फीट, सो ऑब्वियसली 5,000 स्क्वायर फीट आप इंटीरियर इंटीरियर ये सब का खर्चा अगर पकड़े, कैन गो अप टू 3,500 4,000 रुपीज अ स्क्वायर फुट
Wow.
of your cost. And then obviously your deposit आप पकड़ेंगे, 3 months 6 month deposit, 5,000 square feet. We spoke about it being at least 300 400 rupees a square foot. तो अच्छा खासा खर्चा हो सकता है. So for that obviously you need capital, and it's a very risky business. Lounge and night clubs are much riskier. आपको आपका पैसा 12 महीने में कमाना ही है after spending all these crores of rupees, because nightclub is a very fickle business. People who go to nightclubs, they don't want to go to the same nightclub again and again. वो हमेशा बोलते हैं कहीं न्यू जगह नई जगह जाते हैं, नई जगह जाते हैं, अरे वो नया खुला है, ये नया खुला है.
Mhm.
So it's a very short life in which you have to make that money. That's why the things are priced more. The try and keep DJ nights ये वो initially, so that initially अच्छा चले. So this is and that's the nature of the business, because the crowd there is always looking for something new.
I think that's very important point. They are always looking for something new because I don't know ऐसा कोई brand अभी तक इंडिया में आया है where people are lining up day after day. The reason I'm saying is I was in Berlin and there is a very famous
Hmm.
nightclub called Bargain and
Yeah,
उसमें 3-3 4-4 घंटे की लाइन है and even the entry is not even short. आप
correct,
जाओगे
correct.
and he can just reject you like नहीं मेरा मन नहीं है, no I won't
हाँ.
allow you or something. So उस type का concept अभी तक I think
See, Berlin, if you like partying, then Prague is supposed to be the Prague and Ibiza, but Prague especially is supposed to have some very, very crazy, out of the world partying scene. Prague, and Ibiza has, but Prague is supposed to be something totally different. Berlin, of course, has, but Prague is apparently some next level. This is what I've been told. Of course, I've never gone to Prague. As I said, I'm not such a big partying man, but this is what attracts the people. And when it comes to nightclub lounges, good nightclubs, I've been to many in of course in Thailand and all, they tend to become one single focus, because this is a owner driven business. Nightclub and lounges, it's very difficult to build scale in a nightclub business, because one is your presence is required and your personality is required. There are many moving parts about getting the right crowd, getting people there, getting, famous people, personalities, glamorous people. It's a full time job in that sense. And then there are, see, these kind of things also attract the wrong elements also. So, वो भी आपको सब संभालना है. So, it's a balancing act. And that's why lounges tend to have a name of their own.
and we were discussing about alcohol. So there is, I think you must be aware in like Gurgaon side, they have opened bring your own alcohol. So they are
Yeah.
just providing a space and they are like bring your own alcohol and drink as much as you like. How will someone make
Yeah.
money?
I don't know. I need to make a trip to. I really need to make a trip to Gurgaon to see this. I've heard a lot about it. I need to see it and I know chat with the staff. I'm also very intrigued.
It's fully packed.
That what,
I
yeah,
went couple of
what
times
they call
fully.
theka. I think they call it theka, na? Adjoining the wine shop on the terrace or on the baju mein ऐसा कुछ है ना?
So the name is Bring Your Own Alcohol,
अच्छा,
BYOA.
BYOB, अच्छा.
Yeah. It's like bring your own alcohol, and people are just bringing bottles after bottle. They're sitting, and they are obviously offering services like fries, side chips, etc., etc. But
अच्छा.
fully packed. They are like no alcohol, but I don't know because money is in alcohol, so they are not selling alcohol. I don't know how it works.
You know what? Maybe we will keep that for our next podcast.
Oh yes,
How I cracked the business model of BYOB.
yes,
We
absolutely.
will call it BYOB session. Business model of BYOB.
अगला फंडा आएगा bring your own food, we'll make it.
हाँ, bring your own food. हमें खाली बैठने के पैसे दे दो और उसके बाद हम एक नया मॉडल निकालते हैं इफ वी आर लकी. खाली हमको पैसे भेज दो आप आपके घर. वी विल गिव यू दोस गॉगल्स वर्चुअली. आप ये करो क्या वर्चुअली आप हमारे रेस्टोरेंट में आइए.
विजन प्रो में आपको
हाँ,
Abs-
विजन प्रो में हम आपको रेस्टोरेंट का दृश्य दिखाएंगे लेकिन खाना आप आपका ही खा रहे हैं घर. इट साउंड्स लाइक
that's
अ गुड मॉडल. मतलब आई let me, if it works then it'll be good.
yeah, super terrific profits and all.
Yeah.
So you were mentioning if someone opens a club or launch, they have to recover the money in a year. So अगर एक साल में recover नहीं किया तो it's like very difficult
It's a
to
lot.
recover or
Yes, very difficult. So that's why I know many people that lost a lot of money. Obviously, during COVID, practically everybody lost a lot of money. Not just in this business, multiple business. Unless you were in the sanitizer business, उन्होंने तो बहुत कमाया. Or you were in the medical business, आपने बहुत कमाया. बाकी सबने तो बहुत गवाया. So, but it if you don't, like, some people had just started work, some लोगों का काम चालू था, or in general, if you are not able to crack it, because this business, that's why then in this business there is a new segment. See, every new segment creates a new need. इतना pressure है in lounges clubs को कि जल्द से जल्द. And many times people who get together, they don't know anything about this business. किसी ने 10 लाख डाले हैं, किसी ने 5 लाख डाले हैं, 10-12 पार्टनर हैं जो साथ में आए हैं. Then they appoint a person just to run this kind of night club. और उसका काम क्या है कि आप ये ग्लैमरस लोगों को लाओ ताकि ये चीज चले और हम आपको कुछ रेवेन्यू शेयर देंगे. So the new need creates a new this thing because none of them are from that business. Then this person has got contacts. ये film stars या मेनली एटलीस्ट बॉम्बे में तो फिल्म स्टार से ज्यादा ये जो टीवी शोज वाले जो एक्ट्रेसेस है एक्टर्स है उनको लाएगा. उनका दिल बी सीन हर्ड हियर. उनका कोई बर्थडे सेलिब्रेशन कराएगा तो बाकी जन उनको देखते हैं. मेक्स दैट प्लेस हैपनिंग, गेट्स द फुटफॉल. ऐसे करना पड़ता
I think the celebrity restaurant type I visited in Bombay was Bastion. I mean,
है.
it's
राइट.
terrific. The ambience, I don't know. Yeah, the ambience, it was just like crazy built. I mean, so how does these sort of model work? It's like Shilpa Shetty put up the money, someone is running it.
It's
So what?
normally a combination. It's normally a combination. There is just like how the FMCG companies are working, whereby somebody will say somebody is a partner in the FMCG company, and they may just come in some of the ads, may just promote it. There was I don't want to name, but I will definitely give you a good insight. There used to be a comedian, a very famous comedian, in his time, and in fact, his daughter's also an actor. His wife also comes on one Bollywood wives show, and his model used to be he used to because this, like you said about liquor license and things. What he used to do was in his heyday, he has bought and kept up many places in Bombay where the restaurant is already passed as a restaurant and he's got the liquor license in his name. And what he does is you want to open a restaurant immediately, you go to him. He's got 10-15 places like this, and he tells you, you know what, I'm from the film industry, I'm connected to the film industry, I will get you all these glamorous people, you make me a part. Okay, so it's a kind of a quasi equity that you can say. So that helps, and that has helped many of these clubs establish, because he obviously doesn't run the business day to day. You
True.
want to get in the business.
Maybe बढ़िया
So this is
model.
how many of these nightclubs also.
Yeah, I think as you rightly said, it's a quasi model. Many people are needed
See,
to.
it's a partnership model ना. जब आप पार्टनरशिप में करते हो, sometimes किसी के पास मैनेजमेंट स्किल है, ओके, किसी के पास पैसे है, किसी के पास पेडिग्री है, किसी के पास जस्ट, और चलिए वो छोड़िए, जब आप गवर्नमेंट टेंडर में बिड करते हैं, लेट्स से फॉर ए फूड कोर्ट और फॉर ए सर्किट हाउस और फॉर एनी रोड प्रोजेक्ट और एयरपोर्ट प्रोजेक्ट, वहां पर भी कंसोर्टियम करके होता है। किसी
Hmm.
के पैसे, किसी का नहीं, आपके पास 3 साल या 5 साल का मिनिमम स्किल चाहिए, एलिजिबिलिटी क्राइटेरिया चाहिए चलाने के लिए, तो
Yeah.
वो चीजों को सब आप कंबाइन करके एक बिड डालते हो। तो ये भी ऐसे ही है, मींस इट इज नथिंग, दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड नथिंग हैज रियली चेंज्ड। It's just that instead of getting somebody having an infrastructure background, you're getting someone from a filmy background to who has that credibility to get the
True.
business. So it's the same.
True. True. So then, what is your ambition now, Vikram? You have 50 restaurants, you have full
Yeah.
legacy, everything. What is your ambition? Where do you want to be in couple of years, or what is the target you have set for yourself, or you are happy?
No, no. The good thing is, the best thing is, I'm happy, and because I'm happy, I can do much more. जब आप खुशी नहीं हो तो हर दिन आपको एक बर्डन लगेगा। आई एम
Yeah.
वेरी हैप्पी, आई एम रियली एंजॉयिंग माई सेल्फ, एंड बिकॉज आई एंजॉयड सो मच, आई एम एबल टू डू सो मच, and my plan is to take this Kamat's legacy, which presently we have 3 in Bombay. We are expanding to about 7 across Bombay, but the goal is to take this first to at least about 100 restaurants, and we feel that we can definitely do this in the next 3 to 5 years quite comfortably, because it's a scalable cookie cutter model that we've made. The entire thing takes about entire restaurant takes just 2 months to come from start to finish to complete. We have our own training academy where we train our people. It's like a police ki bharti or like a army ki bharti. We don't call ourselves a hotel company, hospitality company, restaurant company. We call ourselves a hospitality army, because हम वही सब चीजें, I'm wearing this badge here, I don't know if you can see, इस पे भी stars है, so we've got a
Hmm.
hierarchy in the system.
Oh,
आपको सबको ट्रेनिंग करना है, ये हमारा रोज का यूनिफॉर्म है, सबको यही पहनना है। So idea is to create a forge,
is it is
an
it like
army.
is it like that Oberoi management program they run something?
Yes, something on that lines. Something on that lines. Of course, everybody's is little bit different, but yes, something on that line. Because in the end, everybody needs well-trained quality manpower.
Yeah.
So whether it be, you have to have your people who understand your concept, your philosophy, your ideology, then only you can grow. So that's what we've done, and that's what has helped us a lot. So these other restaurants, so anyway, we have the Kamats, the which you see on the highway or in the city. But Kamat's legacy is something that has a huge potential. We have a lot of international interest also, but we will do the international in about a year's time. Right now, we are focusing on the domestic market, which has so much of requirement of amazing South Indian.
And one thing I wanted to ask in the beginning itself. So, Doctor Vikram Kamat. So, what is the doctor? In what doctorate
So
you have?
So I finished my masters from Pune University, and then I
Okay.
went on to do my doctorate. That's in management studies.
Oh,
So all related to hospitality. I did my thesis in correlation of debt, correlation of debt with market capitalization of hotels.
oh wow.
Actually, my guide told me, whatever subject you take a subject where the data should be very easy, because this is a research thing. So being a man of well versed with stock market, our company is also listed under Vidli Restaurants Ltd, which has done exceedingly well. Just to give you a hint, if you had invested during the IPO 1 lakh rupees, it would be more than a crore now. So
अभी का आप
in just
बताओ,
10
अभी
years,
अगर इन्वेस्ट करेंगे तो अभी कितना बनेगा?
of course, आप देखिए, मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, जो भाई मुझे पूछता है, मैं बोलता हूँ, when you go to the racetrack, you put the money on the jockey and the horse. तो
Yeah.
जॉकी तो अच्छा कर ही रहा है, the performance is तो already good. Past performance is never a guaranteed indicator, but a good indicator of future performance.
तो do you keep looking at your share price?
No, I don't.
No.
I
तो
don't.
अभी कितना चल रहा है?
I only look at my market share. Share
Okay.
price अपने आप बढ़ जाए. If your market
Yes.
share is good and you are the leader, आपका तो बनना ही है ना. Because we are the leader, हमारा बनता ही है. Firstly, we've been profitable. I am very focused on profitability,
Hmm.
and we have been profitable from day one, including in COVID. We have been continuously profitable.
Oh wow.
Our company.
COVID में
We
how
I
was
have learned.
possible? COVID में how was it possible to be profitable?
See, what happened was our restaurants were shut for 6 months nearly, but Many of them were able to do delivery. Many of the locations were able to open partially, and we reduced a lot of expenses. A lot of expenses means a lot of expenses. Also, what happened was we didn't have any debt effectively. That was a big bonus for us because हमारे पास interest का इतना burden नहीं था. Then जो खर्चे कम करने थे, obviously many staff went back to their गांव, कोंकण, ये वो. Then हमने जो हमारे fixed जितने भी fixed cost expenses थे, हमने cut off कर दिए. हमने हमारे head office को termination notice दे दिया. For nearly 1.5 years we didn't operate from a head office. Then when we needed, we again got back. तो हमने जो भी deep dive measures के requirement थे वो किए, because after the first 2 months we realized that ये लंबा चलने वाला है. And so we took some drastic steps. Of course, some of those steps in hindsight seem little over drastic, but वो time ऐसे था कि आपको
Yeah.
पता ही नहीं था कि आगे क्या होगा.
Very
So that
uncertain.
was there. Yeah,
Yeah.
very uncertain. We got some special permissions because restaurants were allowed to also operate as cloud kitchens. And then we did some schemes, some breakfast schemes. लोगों को रोज खाने की भी दिक्कत थी. They couldn't come out. We came out with the scheme कि आप 10,000 रुपया दो और आप 3 टाइम का.
Oh,
So like
nice.
that we came and हमने rolling, just kept the ball rolling. So that time one or two people told me अरे आप 10, मैं बोला अरे खाली रहने से अच्छा अभी एटलीस्ट ये चीजें चलती रहे, because
Yeah.
anyway everybody has taken a 50% cut, like we had done graded cuts. So junior staff would get only a 10% cut, because जो अभी 15,000 या बेचारा डे टू डे अभी 15,000 12,000 कमा रहा है, तो वो आप उसका ज्यादा काट के भी क्या मिलेगा आपको, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. बट सीनियर मैनेजमेंट who's earning 2 lakh 3 lakh a month, he can afford to take a 50% cut, 60% cut. Some people like me, we have taken 80% cut also. So like that we did graded cuts, which obviously helped. So the down staff, they got what they needed. उनका भी चलता रहा, अपने को भी rolling में चलता रहा. And in this kind of situation, if you see, the major खर्चा comes from the above the top. The unit level is anyway earning their money, but then head office is not able to survive because we don't earn any money per se.
Hmm.
Head office is providing service to the outlets. हम क्या कमाते हैं? The outlets कमा के head office को चलाने का काम करता है. So like that we had very deep this thing. It was not easy for anybody, but we did.
True, true. No, definitely. I think difficult time, but yeah, people did come out of it, and like yours. So yeah, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure. I think we're running time, but एक last segment I want to cover on policies के ऊपर. So what is
sure.
your opinion on current government?
Very interesting. It's a mixed bag. I think we have to do a lot more. I was reading one article about public debt and how the public debt has increased, and generally the GDP. Though we feel that GST is increasing, I think things like GST and all, I think can be streamlined a lot by having simpler or just one rate if we have everywhere. Like, GST is a very good concept. It's great that it's got implemented, but it should have been implemented better. People
Hmm.
have MOQ और आपका कैलकुलेशन, आपका मटेरियल मैनेजमेंट सिस्टम, वो मल्टीप्लाई का 10 गुनी आए तो 10 into 25. अभी आप 26 चेंज करेंगे, एरर्स निकल रहे. मतलब you know unfortunately in India the whole concept is based around tax, and they should, to prevent tax evasion, they should make it boss, whatever you're doing, because the government cannot think of everything. Like
Yeah.
abhi example, I'll tell you our case where we have multiple head offices. अभी आपका आप नोटबुक ले रहे हैं, ओके, लाइक एग्जांपल, लेट्स से वी हैव 20 सेल्स ऑफिसेज अक्रॉस. तो वो अलग अलग चीजें ले रहा है एक ही स्टेशनरी दुकान से, ओके. बट उस स्टेशनरी दुकान में रबर लिया, पेंसिल लिया, नोटबुक लिया, वाटर बॉटल लिया, 1000 चीजें लिए, हर एक का जीएसटी अलग है. नाउ किसी को बैठ के वो इनपुट करना पड़ रहा है. दैट बिल माइट बी ओनली वर्थ लेट्स से 5,000 रुपीज, बट व्हेन यू कंबाइन इट विद ऑल द ऑफिसेज अक्रॉस, रोज का वो खर्चा बहुत हो रहा है. एंड
Compliance.
compliance and then this, so they should just go with one rate. Even in restaurant business, they must go with the input tax credit availability, because your whole objective is not getting solved. आपको कैश में बिजनेस कम कराना है, बट नाउ स्टैंड अलोन रेस्टोरेंट्स के ओनर, ये नाइट क्लब्स के ओनर, ये क्या बोलते हैं इनको, आप हमको कैश में दे दो, आप क्यों भर रहे हो 18% रेंट पे.
Hmm.
Okay, because input credit तो मिल नहीं रहा है, तो आप क्यों भर रहे हो? So
True.
government is defeating its objective, and definitely inflation is there. We should see how to control the inflation.
True. And I think as third generation, so have you seen any period wherein you saw key, this was really good time, or this was the perfect time, or these were the good policies? GST is good, but implementation needs to be improved. But in this, because you have been, the brand at least have been there for such long time, ki you have seen the cycles at least from the brand
Yeah.
perspective. So any insights from that?
See, I can tell you that as far as tourism goes, unfortunately, every government has only done one or two things. Nobody has really taken this seriously. Everybody's implemented something in a patchwork methodology when it comes to hospitality, tourism, food business. For example, मतलब हर गवर्नमेंट ने आके एक एक कुछ किया है बस, बट उससे पूरा इकोसिस्टम अच्छे से सॉल्व नहीं हुआ है. If you see, for example, recently when the this I can't even say Sena government because अभी सेना कौन है ये इस पे ही बहुत बड़े क्वेश्चन. तो मतलब when the
Old,
Uddhav Thackeray
older,
sarkar was there,
old one.
yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
when the Sena was there, they came up with giving giving hotels and restaurants and the entire business a tourism infrastructure grade, which would have reduced. See, Bombay and Maharashtra, because in Mumbai city hotels come under the commercial establishment and not infrastructure or industry status, they are paying electricity at a much higher rate, which makes everything expensive. Okay, electricity, because आप मॉल में जाएंगे, रेस्टोरेंट में जाएंगे, होटल में जाएंगे, your electricity is on 24 hours. एक गेस्ट भले ही हो या पूरा मॉल खचाखच भरा हो, because we have to use everything AC. लाइटिंग से ज्यादा आजकल एलईडी बल्ब वगैरह आ गए, तो लाइटिंग पे इतना खर्चा नहीं होता है जितना सबसे बड़ा खर्चा है एसी. और हमारे इस क्लाइमेट में तो एसी आपको बढ़िया पावरफुल तो चाहिए ही. सो पावर ड्रॉ इज ह्यूज व्हिच क्रिएट्स द cost, which is what increases the cost. So they came up with tourism, reduced the property tax. So these were good moves. When it comes to the government before that also, they had taken one or two key initiatives. So every government has taken some one or two initiatives, but holistically nobody has really looked at it. In the present government, they have to just come. Abhi to I don't think ठीक से वो हर बार आई थिंक वो बिजी रहते हैं ये कोर्ट के मामलों में और कोर्ट के चक्कर में कि कौन रहेगा और कौन नहीं रहेगा, और अभी तो इलेक्शन ही सर पे आ गए. सो ऑनेस्टली they have not even looked at tourism. I think they've been focused elsewhere. But I think it's a huge opportunity loss. And I think for Maharashtra, let me tell you, Maharashtra has in India the largest number of World Heritage Tourism sites. You may not be even aware of this. The
yeah.
largest number compared to any states. We have got Taj Mahal. Sorry, not Taj Mahal. Sorry, Gateway of India, Taj, which operates Taj. Many people don't know that the Taj Hotel predates the Gateway of India by 20 years. The
Oh,
Taj
wow.
Mahal Hotel was made in 1903, and their bar license, which they have put outside, if you go to their bar, I think it's called Harbour Bar, if I remember correctly, it is number one. The license is written number one.
Oh,
It was the
wow.
first bar, licensed bar in Mumbai. There were many bars before that, but first licensed bar in Mumbai. And the Gateway of India was made in 1920, 1923, to commemorate the coronation of King and Emperor King Edward. So that came much after. Can you imagine Apollo Bandar without the Gateway of India?
Wow. Wow.
Okay, so there are many things that we don't know. Then Aurangabad, the Ajanta Ellora caves and all, they are also a World Heritage Site. I believe Elephanta also are. So we have got some 5 or 6, if my memory serves me correct, which is more than any other state. Some states don't even have one. So we in Maharashtra or in India as a whole have a tremendous potential. We are seeing little bit domestic tourism post COVID increase, and we are seeing the rise in the market. So I think इसको अच्छे से करें तो it can be a real game changer, क्योंकि लोगों ने इंडिया देखा ही नहीं है.
Hmm.
लोगों ने इंडिया इन चीजें देखे नहीं है. एंड मेन थिंग इज, अगर हम ज्यादा घूमे, विच डेफिनेटली वन ऑफ माय बिग ग्रूज इज, हम लोग आई डोंट नो व्हाट प्रोपेंसिटी इंडियंस हैव कि जहां पर भी जाना है अपना एक निशान छोड़ के जाना है, कुछ ना कुछ बाटली या रैपर या प्लास्टिक बाटली यहाँ वहां फेंक के जाना है, यू नो. So that definitely we should improve. But other than that, I think we're a very good potential. We're sitting on a gold.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks a ton, Vikram. It was super fun to talk to you, and
Thanks, Ashish.
बहुत कुछ आज सीखने को मिला आज.
I'm looking for our next podcast. We should make insights or trade secrets of the hospitality industry.
या बिल्कुल. और ये BYO भी तो क्रैक करना ही है अभी तो एक
Yes,
समय.
yes, yes. हम साथ में एक फील्ड ट्रिप बनाते हैं.
हाँ.
This is the right weather also. बाहर बाहर बैठ के पीने का ये सही सही वेदर भी
बिल्कुल.
है.
उनके अंदर ही बैठ के क्रैक कर सकते हैं कि अब
हाँ
क्या.
हाँ. Done.
वंडरफुल.